So my collection was inspired by a poem called I Love a Lonely Winding Road by Laura M. Knight, where she talks about the hills and the forests and the dew that settles on the leaves and winding roads with surprises around each bend. And that is something that really caught my attention and transcended me into one of my vacations that I had done. And it was an instant connect. And that's how and when I started working with Khadi, it just felt like a watercolor picture of this holiday image that I had, and that's how the color palette came about. And when I started working with the fabric, it was almost like a surprise because I just cut different pieces, started putting them together, and there was that element of surprise, almost like around the bend. Something that takes you, by sudden shock, and that's how the collection came about, and that's why the collection is also called Converge, which is the meeting of different lines, the meeting of different patterns, which is the strength of the Khadi that I worked with, the pattern that's on it. I think for me, variability and the commercial viability of a garment is always key. I've been into the customizing business, as well as, now I'm venturing into a ready-to-wear line, and this is my first menswear line. But my design philosophy stays the same, from my women's wear to my menswear. It's all about comfort, and it's all about easy wearability and easy maintenance. That's key. Khadi, first of all, it's an indigenous fabric, and it's completely unexplored, it's completely unexploited as yet. And the fashion industry has not really used, I think, Khadi in ways that it can be. It's a fabric which is cool in the summers and warm in the winters. It comes across as a fabric that is to be used just by politicians. Maybe that's how we've seen it in films, or that's how we've seen it portrayed, or maybe the guys who do street plays or journalists. But I wanted to work with Khadi and bring it to a younger audience, a more fashion conscious audience, which is why I have worked with the most basic Khadi and tried to turn it into something with the more fashionable edge to it. I've always been a big fan, and I've looked up to him as my role model, and that's been Vinyl Rodriguez. He's a minimalist, but yet being a minimalist manages to do so much with his layers and with his cuts, and with just the most basic fabric, and the way he works with the drape and all of that. It just it's just mesmerizing. And I think ever since I wanted to be a designer, I looked up to him, and I still look up to his work. I think oversized. That's something that I think, it does flatter some, but it's just not something that everybody can adopt. It's something that it just does not appeal to me at all. A pair of jeans that fits you well. A pair of lace-up shoes in tan. I know everybody thinks sneakers are a must-have, but I think a pair of lace-ups in tan is a definite. And a jacket which can transcend from day to evening, either worn with a layer or worn by itself. These are the three things I think that are most important. I think considering now that I'm so close to the fabric and I'm so close to Khadi, the opportunity to do a drape on Gandhiji would have been amazing, And considering again, I would just have the garment to work with waist below and a shawl, and to think of the options that I would probably want to do with it, I think that itself is exciting. So yeah, that he would be someone I would have loved to dress and have walk for me. Hi, I'm Jewellyn Alvares, and I've just made my debut at the Lakme Fashion Week with my first ever men's line with Khadi. This is for Man's World.